This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised. Good morning everybody, and welcome to Djuma Private Game Reserve in the Sabi Sands here in South Africa, where we are really just enjoying a lovely skyline this morning. It's still nice and dark and early, and of course the dawn chorus has started to start our day. My name is Tessa. I'm going to be your guide on safari here this morning. Behind the camera today is Gert, and we are on a mission. As we left the camp, we found some lion tracks, and those are probably the same lions Cedric was looking for yesterday. And believe it or not, they drove tracks last night. And it looks like they've come up Gallagher shortcut, so they must have moved at around maybe 7 p.m. last night, come up past quarantine. They've come up Gallagher shortcut and are headed towards the northern boundary. So I am hot on their heels. I say that as though I'm an hour behind them. I'm really not. I'm a good few hours behind them. But we're going to try. We're going to see what happens, and we're going to hopefully be able to track them. If it is the Nkuhumas, I don't think they'll go as far as Buffelshoek. I think they'll turn before they get there and maybe come back down towards Gallagher Pan. So if you have any questions this morning, please do get hold of us. You can find us at #WildEarth on Twitter. If you're under the age of 18, pop us an email on kidsquestions@wildearth.tv, or you can register on the WildEarth website, head over to the channel page and submit your questions there. We are certainly looking forward to hearing from you. Any questions, any comments, let us know what you would like to see or are hoping to see today, and we'll see what we can do to find it for you. And of course, to those who are in the morning already, happy International Women's Day. And we're excited for this afternoon's sunset safari, so we can celebrate a little bit with you. So we have got a little bit of cloud cover building up. It might keep building through the day, but it is due to be quite hot. I think we're due to get up to about 31 degrees Celsius. And so I think we're going to have a hot day, but for now it is absolutely perfect conditions. And so hopefully that means we might find some lions at some point this morning, so that we can really, see them moving. But I do think we're quite a few hours behind them at this point. I definitely drove over their tracks last night coming back from Sandy Patch. So they must have moved at around 7 p.m. That's quite a big difference. But hopefully we can catch up. I think between G and I, we're pretty skilled at this. Justin, starting the day with a beautiful sunrise. I agree. And it's amazing the difference between when I left and when I'm back. The sun is coming up so much later, and of course everything is very different. It feels like we're still in the dark when we leave the lodge now. So it's really going to be quite interesting to see how it goes as we're going into winter and how the times change. I'm excited to see if we'll find some nice birds today. Such a gorgeous morning. I love the early mornings. I'm excited to see what everyone's wanting to see this morning. I'm excited to hear, I should say, what you would all like us to try and find. I know that we didn't get a chance to do our bird call challenge yesterday afternoon, and that's okay. We had a leopard-packed afternoon for my first afternoon back. But I'm very keen to put aside some time for that today and get going with it. Alright, I am going to try my best to tear myself away from a very beautiful sunrise. Not the sun even yet, it's just the colours starting, and I'm going to keep tracking these lines and see what we can find. I'm hoping that they will have turned, because we're about halfway between Vuyatela Access and Buffelshoek Cut Line at this point, and the tracks are still going straight up the road towards Buffelshoek Cut Line. But it looks like it's quite a few, so I'm guessing it might be those 3 lionesses from the Djuma Pride, maybe with the 7 cubs. Maybe it's the sub-adults. Maybe the sub-adults came up and the lionesses with the cubs did not move. Maybe they're still in the drainage line somewhere. That's where we think they are anyway, or were. Definitely still going down the road. So luckily with this lower light, it's quite nice for us to be able to see from this light of the car that you can see the kind of indentation of the track because of the light coming from behind. But anyway, we're going to keep tracking. Let's have a look at what our weather is doing for the morning.
Morning everybody. Another lovely morning out here in the bush, and our plan today is to try and see if we can't perhaps find mulwati or any of the leopards that were seen yesterday. And Tess had some line tracks and she's sort of heading to the northern parts. And my name is Chris, and with me today on Cam Ops is Morgan, yet again. And we are now in the sort of northwestern part of Djuma, and nothing yet to report, but hopefully soon we would be able to change that. Now, I've never seen mulwati, so I'm specifically hoping that he will pitch up somewhere. You know, the old guy is we know he's somewhat nervous at times. And if nothing transpires up in the northwest where we are now, we'll sort of head a bit more central south. Perhaps take a look if Tandi's still around. We know that she was heading into this particular part of Djuma, which is rather unusual for her. I think this might be some of those line tracks indeed. No, it's definitely some line tracks here. Right, so that is rather interesting. Let's go. Remain stationary for a moment here, because there's some impala ahead and they are 100% calm, but there's some line tracks coming this way from Vuyatela Access, which is literally just up ahead, and we had what appear to be the same line tracks coming from the camp northwards on Vuyatela Access. So maybe worthwhile to check Triple M. It just looked like one lioness. You can see these impalas are 100% calm. So if this lion moved past here in the last 5 to 10 minutes, they would definitely not be this calm. I can hear those francolins going crazy towards our north. Just trying to listen out if there's not perhaps any other alarm calls or anything that we can go by. But if nothing, we will probably start working more central. We got a question from Sam, who asks, are you able to identify animals, characters through tracks? Good morning, Sam. Certain tracks you could potentially identify individuals. I mean, that is possible. I mean, there's enough in individual tracks to perhaps figure out whether it's mulwati, for instance, or tortoise pan male. Personally, I have not spent enough time here to be able to do that, but in time I'll probably figure out certain sort of standout characteristics in each track, and then I will be able to identify individuals from their tracks. But it's going to take time.
I am here at Jacuzzi, where Cheeky the African penguin was identified for the first time on the 20th of January 2022. And Cheeky can be distinguished from the other African penguins by its broad black breastband, as well as its beautiful black spots along its belly. My favorite distinguishing feature of this African penguin is its beautiful white cheeks. Join me here at Penguin Beach daily to learn more about this African penguin.
Pangolin, known as the respected wise old man of the African bush, is said to be a symbol of good luck and the bringer of rain. 8 species of pangolins are found worldwide, of which 4 occur in Africa. This mysterious creature is now the most poached animal on our planet. The African Pangolin Working Group will strive towards the conservation and protection of the African pangolin species and the habitat they live in. The African Pangolin Working Group has been mandated by the Department of Forestry, Fisheries and the Environment to assist and support with the retrieval, release process and the research of pangolins in South Africa. Each rescued pangolin is assessed, treated and rehabilitated by an experienced team of veterinarians and rehabilitation specialists. We can ensure the survival of the species. Together, we can make a difference.
Right, so Marips has found himself a puff adder that he's busy playing with, which is dangerous. I've seen leopards die from puff adder bites. I think he got hit on the paw. So he's obviously taken snakes on before. But at what cost, Marips?
Identifying individual African penguins can be extremely challenging because at first glance, they all look the same. Identifying Duo, an African penguin with a double breastband, was extremely exciting for me. Less than 5% of the African penguin population has this unique variation in plumage. And I can't wait to share Duo's life with everyone on WildEarth.
We've got a lot of personality coming out of one tiny elephant calf this morning. My first elephant since I've been back, and it's a small herd, just 3 elephants together. This tiny calf, its mom and an older sibling. But this calf is really showing some attitude. It's definitely still mastering the whole trunk idea with so many thousands of muscles in one part of your body. It can be quite tough to really master it, but it's doing pretty well. But you can see it is getting a bit frustrated with that tree, possibly just being playful though, since it is nice and cool. Kim, elephants will rest in different ways depending on their ages. So a little calf like this one will actually sleep on the floor, lying on its side, usually very close to mom or actually underneath mom's stomach, just to make sure that they're in enough shade. But you can imagine as you get older, you don't really fit there anymore. Hello, fork-tailed drongo. This calf is really trying its best here with this tree. So as they get older, they can't really lie down as much anymore. So up to about teenage size, you might find elephants lying around and resting like that. They don't rest for a very long amount of time. But the adults will actually rest on their feet, usually just standing in the shade with their ears gently flapping and their eyes closed, just resting for a little bit. Adult elephants won't sleep for more than maximum of an hour a day. But I'm loving this little calf. So what's interesting is we're still on the trail of lion tracks. They've changed direction a bit from Gallagher Shortcut to Gallagher Shortcut Link. So it still goes towards Buffelshoek Cut Line, but the section we're on is almost going south at the moment. And the elephants can actually smell the tracks of the lions from last night. And so what that means is that obviously they're a little bit upset. Oh my goodness, baby. What are you doing? You can see it's really having a lot of fun this morning, using this time while it's nice and cool to have a bit of fun and play. This is how you learn. So this looks like a combination of a few things. Practicing learning to stretch up with its front feet off the ground, or practicing pushing a tree. Haley, yes, elephants could very easily overheat without their large ears. That being said, we do have a few individuals. I mean, I remember that male, the young male that's got the floppy ears, very keenly nicknamed Eeyore by some of the viewers. He doesn't have fully functional ears, but he still has ears, I suppose. But without the big ears, that is the easiest way for an elephant to control its temperature. So it might not necessarily die, but it would certainly struggle to try and keep its body cool. And of course, flapping the ears, wetting them as well is a massive importance with thermoregulation. So I'm going to have to move a bit forward. But they can still wet themselves in terms of body. They've got a lot of those cracks on the skin, and so if they pack mud and water in there, they can keep themselves cool. Drinking water will help, and they might have to stick to the shade a bit more. They might not necessarily die, but they have a higher chance of dying with that, especially if it gets very hot in the summers. Going into winter, it would be a lot easier, because if they can survive the summer temperatures, the winter temperatures should be easy. It's still hot, but not nearly what it was. So I'm going to reposition a bit for these elephants. It looks like they're playing a game of hide and seek with us at the moment. And I'm going to send you to JP to say good morning.
Good morning and welcome back to Eco Training Pridelands. It sounds of Tess has a great start so far this morning with a baby elephant playing around. On this side, we're actually waiting for the sun to rise. We positioned ourselves on top of a little koppie, which is a little hillock. And we also at the same time just listening to all the different sounds in the background. And most of it is all birds. And we also had a distant call of a hyena a few seconds ago. So my name is JP Leroux. Behind the camera, we've got Johan. Our plans for the morning is to start off, once the sun is properly rised, to actually go for a short little walk. And if it doesn't become warmer to a later part of the morning, we'll definitely continue towards one of the dams to go and see if there's any action over there. I actually just saw something coming towards us in the distance. We've actually got an elephant that's slowly making its way towards us. I'm not sure if it's too far for Johan to be able to get the elephant at the moment. I'm sure it is going to come a little bit closer to us in the next few moments. But where we are, we're perfectly safe. We're on a little hill, as well as the wind is in our favor, and that makes it, gives us a safe viewing position for viewing this elephant. But in the meanwhile, let's see what else is happening around us and just enjoy the sounds of nature. It seems if we're going to just lose another one of our marula trees. No, it's now he's stopped. And it was seeming if he was going to break that tree. But yeah, now he's moving off and probably gave up. Tree is probably too strong for him. We're going to continue waiting over here until the sun rises. And then meanwhile, let's see what everybody is up to.
Cape Nature is the chief custodian of the Western Cape of South Africa's natural environment. This highly successful organization strives to conserve the province's natural heritage to ensure a sustainable future. Besides nurturing nature, Cape Nature offers an authentic ecotourism experience to local and international visitors. And one of these experiences is walking amongst the penguins at Stony Point, or as we know it, Penguin Beach. WildEarth broadcasts live from here every day and is very privileged to be partnered with Cape Nature, who have focused their conservation efforts here. If you want to visit these iconic black and white African penguins for yourself, then head over to our website to find out more. Cape Nature. Conserve, explore, experience.
But I think that's him. I think that's the one I must. Okay, this is getting serious now. I knew there was going to be trouble. Too many bulls and must over one herd.
So, while we have been tracking our lions, we have found a massive golden orb-web spider. She is probably one of the longest I have seen. She's easily the size of the palm of my hand, including her legs, and I've got very big hands. It sounds horrible, but I do. But she is just gorgeous. So she has got quite a large web. It expands, or it spans, I should say. My brain's not working yet. Almost 5 meters across. So it's all the way from literally this tree here on the left, right the way up to the massive trees up on the right, the bush willows. It's a very, very big distance. And I would say I will walk up to her so you can see the size, but I don't want to disturb her web if it comes down to the floor at different angles. June, she really is. She's massive and she's gorgeous. So you can see she's actually doing a bit of a check at the moment on her web, and she's in the center part where most of her prey would be caught. You can see that she's got some silk actually coming out at the moment, so she's busy reinforcing in the middle. She's checking all the little sections, all of the little junctions on that web, and then she's moving around slowly. You can see she's busy rearranging it. Look what she's doing with her legs. She's kind of checking as she's going. I can't see any more silk at the moment. But definitely when she was right in the center, there was some silk while she was almost rearranging the food parcel there. It's actually leftovers. It's stuff she can't eat anymore. Oh, wow. Oh my goodness. You can even see the hairs on her legs. Right at that knee section, that black and yellow section, you can see the hairs. Nature hugger, you're wanting to know how these spiders lay their eggs. Sorry, I'm trying to clear my throat. So the females, as you know, are a lot bigger than the males, and that's quite fitting today, I would say. But they would pretty much have a single egg sac. So after mating with a very small male, hopefully he gets away unscathed, and she'll have a single egg sac which is coated in her silk. So it pretty much forms like almost like a ball, or what looks like an egg. And it's actually hidden not in the middle of the web, because that wouldn't make sense. It's hidden somewhere up towards the edges, hopefully, if she can, in the foliage of a tree that's close by. And oftentimes you might find actually in a leaf very close to where her web joins with the tree or the foliage. And so in that egg sac you'll find the spider eggs. But it sometimes has that golden color, which is part of the reason why they have the name, other than the golden silk that they use, which is quite a bit stronger on their web itself. But it will be completely coated in silk, so it's almost got like a smooth surface. She is doing a proper balancing act this morning. Now right at the top of her web you can see the very thick golden strand. The support structure is spanning between the two trees, and I think she's just going to keep methodically building and fixing this web as she goes. There you can see she's adding silk. Have a look there. Beautiful. But while we watch her with her reconstruction of the home, we're going to send you over to Cedric to say good morning on Damcam.
Good morning. Welcome. My name is Cedric. I'm on Dam Cam this morning here at Gowrie Dam. As you can see, it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful sunrise this morning. Once again here in the African bush. Not much at the moment coming down to the waterhole, but it is going to be quite a warm day, so I'm sure this waterhole is definitely going to be busy today. I'm sure there's a lot of things that's going to be coming down here. I'm just admiring this beautiful sunrise just coming through the treetops at the moment with a bit of cloud cover. Absolutely amazing. It's just the reflection, just the whole scenery here is always just stunning. I enjoy the sunsets as well many times. I think the sunsets are just as beautiful, actually, if not better. But the morning as well, the sunrise is just amazing, and just the colors, that really shows through. But it's so fantastic. I'm so glad that Tess has got a beautiful golden orbs. I think they are absolutely amazing animals, insects, and it's absolutely awesome to see them building those webs, and those long webs. Well, I'm enjoying the sunrise. Let's head to JP in Pridelands.
Good morning and welcome back to Pridelands. We just got that sun coming out from behind the clouds, and it's absolutely stunning. So where we are sitting, we're almost 90 kilometers away from the Mozambique border, and that's where the Bombo Mountains separates South Africa from Mozambique. And I always used to look back from the sunsets into this side, and I'm fortunate that I can look back towards the direction of Mozambique, and enjoying the sunrises again. We're just going to do a short little silent segment, and then from there on start moving on. Just one or two quick facts. The length of the Bombo Mountains, which separates South Africa from Mozambique, is approximately some 400 kilometers. And those of you that are familiar with Pinda, which was part of our show up till earlier in the year, those mountains stretch all the way down into KwaZulu-Natal and up into Zimbabwe. Good morning, Megan. Yes, and it's absolutely stunning. And the clouds are actually making our sunrise so much more dramatic this morning. It's amazing what a little bit of cloud in the sky can do to enhance that sunrise. And I can just hear African wild dog, which even sounds better. There's a long distance call that I've heard, which is typical contact call that they use, and if I have to estimate, they're roughly into the area which we refer to as Impala Plains. I think I'm going to change my mind from doing a walk and follow up in that area and see if we can locate on the African wild dogs. While we move off and go and see if we can locate on the dogs, let's go and see what Chris is doing.
JP, really hoping you get your wild dogs. Nothing to report on our side other than more leopard tracks. This is a general area where Cedric left Tundi yesterday. I did see some tracks from here heading north. Couldn't see where it gone from there. There was quite a number of nocturnal creatures on top of those tracks, which indicates that it's probably from early last night. So I mean, that's not something that you can really try and track, although it gives us a direction to start operating, but not enough to divert from my original plan. So at the moment we're just working the area that I initially planned to work. Good morning, Kate. Kate wants to know, how do leopards communicate with each other? Right. The simple version is vocalization. All right, so they will call. We've often heard this sort of rasping. Sounds like somebody sawing wood. You're like a also grunts. Mothers will communicate with their cubs doing this sort of like sniffing, sneezing, like then there's also a chemical communication in the form of dung, urine, scrape markings with the feet. They've got that interdigital gland in between the toes of the hind feet, urine and so forth, where they leave chemical messages to other leopards in the form of, or basically to say, this is my territory, do not come and enter, you know. Or, I'm a female, I'm ready to mate, or. So it's both with chemicals as well as vocalizations. Bear in mind, they're not social cats. So most communication would be to tell other leopards that this area is occupied, I'm here, do not enter, type of thing. Talking about leopard tracks, there's a track there. Tiny little track, almost like a caracal. Lots of tracks everywhere. When we had lion tracks that Tessa had, we've seen leopard tracks on this road heading that way. Yeah. Right, let me try and see. I might need to get out of the vehicle, so I'm going to try and figure out whose tracks these are and where they're heading, and then I'll hopefully be able to build a picture as to what I need to do.
This is Picky Plastic, and Picky Plastic is excited about the Global Recycling Day. Recycling plays a big role in the WildEarth environment, from protecting the penguin colony at Stony Point by cleaning up the oceans, to ensuring that the safari team reports littering and recycles within the camps. Join WildEarth and be a part of Global Recycling Day on the 18th of March 2022.
Myself and Sebastian were looking for the Birmingham Pride sub-adults, and we just found them stealing a hoisted baby impala carcass out of a tree. This is incredible. It's the first time I've seen one of these youngsters. Whoa! Quite a good chunk there. Nearly fell out doing it. She might fall backwards. She's actually lowering herself down the trees. It's the first time I've seen a lion do that in person.
Funniest question I've been asked. There have been so many. You can almost do a little anecdote book just on guest questions. Sort of been asked to know, which trees do elephants roost in? That's a tough question to answer with a straight face. Someone asked me if a windsock was for feeding giraffes.
It has been a wonderful privilege to identify one of our key characters here at Penguin Beach, Pepper, with a very, very distinct facial patterning, as the name would suggest, very peppered and speckled belly. I'm really looking forward to seeing what this penguin does over the next few days and months. Because of those unique markings, it's going to be really, really cool to watch it as it moves around the penguin colony point.
Yeah, welcome back here to Gowrie Dam. I'm just looking around. It's very strange. I don't know if some of you actually remembered that Egyptian geese family. 7 gooselings that usually was around the dam area. So we haven't seen them for at least, I think it's about 2 weeks now. I actually really wonder what happened to them. I've seen none again. I've seen the male come back to the dam itself. Of course, the female and 7 goslings have just absolutely disappeared and never to be seen again. So I don't know if they actually moved on to another dam, but I don't think so, because they usually always stick to the same areas, the same water holes. So yeah, they have disappeared. But I'm just looking carefully around here. There doesn't seem like too much is coming down at the moment, but as I said, it is going to warm up, it is going to happen, it is going to be definitely a lot of activity coming down during the day. But it's, at the moment, I'm just looking at, just admiring the beautiful sunrise. And just a little bit of cloud cover, but that'll be burning off very, very, very soon. I don't know, they got the brown-headed parrots that do nest up in this dead knobthorn. Hi Keisha, good morning, welcome to WildEarth. Thanks for joining us on this beautiful sunrise safari. Yes, it is, it's always a spectacular time of the day when you see the sun really coming up and coming through, and it is a new day, and we can all be thankful that we all still can see another day through, and it's just absolutely stunning and amazing. Definitely. I wonder if I can get in my room, like I want to get one side of my room, I want to get the sunset, and on the other side of my room, I want to get the sunrise, like pictures. So like when I wake up, I can look at the sunrise, and when I go to sleep, I can look at the sunset. That'll be awesome. But yeah, no, that's definitely really a stunning day again. And also with all those clouds. But as I said, those clouds will burn off during the day. I'm sure they're going to disappear very, very shortly. But as I said, I can't see too much happening at the activity at the dam at the moment. Just keeping an eye out. You never know. Things can change up so quickly in this place. It is unbelievable. One moment I can be away and panning away, and next moment there could be a whole pride of lions coming down to drink. So it just shows you sometimes that can happen. It's always the possibility is there. The possibility is there. While I'm still panning around Gowrie Dam, let's head back to Tess and see what she's up to on her bumble.
I am trying desperately to find my lion tracks again. So just after we had the golden orb-web spider, the road became very, very full of grass. It was very hard soil, so it's not the sandy substrate. And then the tracks kind of cut off the road into the grass, and they were going towards the northern boundary, towards Buffelshoek cut line. but there's no tracks crossing the Vussel cut line. So what I think happened is there's a lot of tracks on the cut line itself going up and down that are old, from the last week or 2 weeks. So there's definitely been a lot of lion activity in the area. But what I think happened is they went almost up to the boundary and then they turned again. So I'm now on Gowrie cut line, going straight back towards Central Road, and I want to go Mvubu Road back towards Sandy Patch because Chris had tracks of one lioness on Sandy Patch, but also they didn't cross out west. So it seems like the lions are doing a little bit of a circle and possibly coming back towards the area of Gowrie Dam, maybe the drainage line, Twin Dams Road, somewhere there. Very typical of the Nkuhumas, especially, to do a big circle and go back almost to where you found them or where you started. So they're giving us a challenge this morning. So that is what we are trying to achieve this morning. We'll see how it goes. We definitely might not get it right, but that's all right. The good news is that we know that there have been lions on the property because we found the tracks earlier. And that is what we want since the lions have been moving so much recently. But it's quite interesting how in my head, having been gone for 3 weeks, I wonder how much the little cubs from the Nkuhumas have grown, looking at the tracks, if it's them or if it's the sub-adults from the Nkuhumas. Hannah, you're wanting to know how many sub-adults are in the Talamati Pride. Is it absolutely awful for me to admit that I actually can't remember because I haven't seen them in so long? I'd only just met them when they left. I will have to think about that. So it was definitely 3 sub-adult males, and then I think I remember 2 sub-adult lionesses, possibly more than that, but I definitely know it was 3 sub-adult males. But I will definitely find out for you, Hannah. I'll make sure and then get back to you, but I definitely remember the 3 sub-adult males, and they looked more like Blondie and Mohawk than Dark Mane, I remember that much. And then some sub-adult lionesses. I actually haven't had an update on them in a while. I know they were in Southwest, but I don't know if they're all still together, if they've moved, but I will find an update on them for you and then get back to you, Hannah. While I try my best to find these lion tracks again, doing my big circles, I'm going to send you over to Chris to see if he has an update.
Now, no update from my side yet. I managed to make my way a little bit further south. I'm close to Treehouse Dam now. Been some leopard tracks, old stuff coming in and out of the area, but nothing worthwhile to really focus on. So I'm just going to work the general area while Tess is on those lion tracks. Maybe check Treehouse Dam around there. Maybe try Twin Dams, check the Mulwati, and then work a bit eastwards from there. I like to break it down into little portions in a way. You know, one area, just work it, yields nothing, move to another area. It's almost like you want to achieve small little victories. Set small intermediate goals. Like, okay, I want to go to that area, see if something happens there. Hi, good morning, Nadia. Nadia says Treehouse Dam has been a lucky area of late. No, absolutely. Between Treehouse and Twin Dams yielded quite a few sightings in the last, I would say, 2 weeks. Oh, there we go. There's some elephants. Let's just slow down and then I'll reverse. I just spotted some elephants in the distance there. That's what I like about bumbling around, you know. So while you're talking, you're looking out, and then suddenly you just see stuff. There they are. Quite far. We might need to try and figure out. Let's just pause for a second and figure out how we're going to get a better visual. You can just see them through the woods there. It's amazing how even the largest land mammal can hide themselves so well. I mean, if that elephant didn't move, you probably would not have seen it. Absolutely insane.
Spinning around in outer space, our planet gives life to the human race. Every day when WildEarth is out on drive, we see our Earth's beauty. We see her alive. We need our planet, that is true, but our planet needs us too. WildEarth will be celebrating Earth Day on the 22nd of April with a special safari live show. The Endangered Wildlife Trust is among Southern Africa's largest and most established non-governmental conservation organizations. Our strategic vision centers on saving species, conserving habitats, and benefiting people. In 2021, the EWT secured habitats, reintroduced African wild dogs and cheetahs into reserves across Southern Africa, and created vulture-safe zones to reduce major threats to vultures, such as poisoning and electrocution. On the 3rd of March 2022, we celebrate World Wildlife Day under the theme Recovering Key Species from Ecosystem Restoration. Standing strong alongside our partners, donors, supporters and friends, the EWT staff have achieved remarkable gains for conservation. Thank you for helping us protect forever together.
Guys, just watch what's happening. See, watch the elephant, watch the lions. See, the first ones to run are the cubs. Can you see them? They are right here. I'm not sure how scared you were, but I was quite nervous. But absolutely incredible.
Expect the unexpected.
Right, Morgan and I decided to rather leave that group of elephants. They are far into the bush, not much of a visual there. And we're going to find elephants later anyway. They are moving direction Triage Dam, so maybe later in the morning, you know, it might be a good plan to come back to Trias Dam, and they might actually emerge out into the open and we can establish a better sighting. So we'll rather use the time. The conditions are actually quite nice for predators, so we'll rather try and use this time to try and find a predator. Talking about Trias Dam, it's coming up right now, just to our left. Good morning, Amber. Amber wants to know if I will manage to identify that insect. Remember we had that little green little thing on the dash about a week, probably around about a week ago. And Amber, indeed, I did manage to identify it. It's called a slant-faced grasshopper. So that's a new species or new group of species for me. And courtesy of one of my friends who I did mention, you know, I've got all these little contacts, you know, I phone when I need help with the ID of certain things. So it's called a slant-faced grasshopper. Yeah, some European bee-eaters flying around somewhere. I don't see them, but you can hear them. Good morning, Miller. And the question there, do hippos charge elephants when they enter their territories? Hippos do display sort of like a warning signal to elephants when they get close to the water, but it's not really of any use because elephants don't really seem to bother much. But I need to also again break that down a little bit. Remember, territories are only relevant to animals within your species. Sorry.
Okay, thanks so much.
Sorry about that. Yeah, so territories are only applicable, really, to individuals of the same species. So, you know, so animals don't defend territories, you know, across the species. It's like leopards will, for instance, only defend the territories against other leopards, and in the case of leopards, only animals of the same sex. So when the hippos, for instance, will show aggression to other animals entering the water, it's more a case of they're entering its safe zone and they feel potentially threatened by something that enters the water. I can see one of those elephants just on the far side of the dam, but they don't seem to be interested in the dam itself, but it just saw the ear flapping there in the distance, but it's standing dead still. And yes, that is an elephant. It was rather nice. This is like this random elephant just appearing out of the bush. Anyway, let's head over to JP at Pridelands to see what he's up to.
Oh, welcome back to Pridelands. At the moment, we quickly stopped at the top of Impala Plains, which was the direction where we heard the calls from the wild dogs coming from. We now positioned ourselves over here, and we're just sitting and listening. At the same time, I'm just scanning to see if I can possibly spot them. That's roughly some 15 minutes has passed since that we've actually heard the calls for the first time. And at the speed that dogs do move, it's very likely that they can already have traveled several kilometers from here. And they can easily travel some 50 kilometers in a day. You also find that if they do chase something, they can cover 5 or 6 kilometers very, very quickly. We're going to spend a little bit more time over here, just listen a little bit longer. Here, if we get lucky again with a contact call, and then possibly use that to pinpoint where they are. We've also been looking at some of the roads that we did travel to see if there was any tracks that was coming out. However, we have not managed to find a single track from wild dog, but loads of hyenas. And quite often we find that hyenas love actually following wild dogs as well, and so does leopard. And the reason is that they hopefully can get to steal their prey from them. That's quite often that we do find that a number of different predators will associate with one another like that. In the meanwhile, let's go and see what Cedric is up to.
Yes, welcome back to Gowrie Dam. Of course, we've got the 2 Egyptian geese here, but of course no goslings. I wonder if it's not the same pair. I mean, I was like explaining earlier, I wonder what they had 7 of them. So, yeah, it's interesting that there's none of them around here now. But at least I see the pairs this side again because it was just a male. I wonder if the female didn't go off with the goslings and then pretty much I can say let them be, and they continued with their lives and moved to other places and other areas, and the 2 adults now of course getting ready to set up a new family again because they are pretty much monogamous, so yeah, they will be partners for life. They'll definitely not leave each other and one will just disappear forever. No, they'll pretty much be partners for life, so they'll definitely stay together. So very, very interesting times to come and see what really pans out and plays out in this whole scenario with the Egyptian geese. Yeah. Oh, while I'm looking around here at Gary Dam, let's head to Chris and let's see what's happening at his waterhole.
So when I go back to that question we just had, or with hippos, with regards to their space, I don't really want to go territory, but their space. You see, the elephants are not really phased. They are nervous, but not because of the hippo's presence. Partially because this is one elephant and her calf, not with a herd necessarily. So obviously they're going to be a bit more wary. The hippo, even though we didn't see it, it did display a little bit when the elephants approached the water. Rather odd to see females by themselves, especially, it's not a very old female this either. You can see that little one also. You can see they're edgy. Now remember, they are still in contact with their herd, so they can be miles away from the herd and still they are capable of speaking to them. And we know there's a herd not that far from here, probably about 300 meters west of here. We saw that herd en route to the dam. Good morning, Lisa M. Lisa wants to know, why is it not common for female elephants or elephant cows to be alone? I mean, like we've got here. Lisa, elephants, the cows especially, live in herds, and these herds are essentially a group of related females. So there's a very strong bond between them. So it's unusual for them to leave the herd. Sometimes it might be they might want to give birth, or perhaps they just got separated through maybe bad weather or something like that. I've seen cases of some elephants falling asleep and the rest of the herd moving on, and that's usually temporary, and they don't spend long periods away from their natal herd. They eventually will relocate them through sound, speech in fact, and then rejoin with them. So whenever you do see something like this, it's usually temporary. They're not designed to be by themselves. In the case of females, the males we know, very often we see them alone. Those trunks are just the most amazing feature on the elephant. I mean, it's essentially its nose and its upper lip in one structure. Just the way they use it is just phenomenal.
I am here at Jacuzzi, where Cheeky the African penguin was identified for the first time on the 20th of January 2022, and Cheeky can be distinguished from the other African penguins by its broad black breastband as well as its beautiful black spots along its belly. My favorite distinguishing feature of this African penguin is its beautiful white cheeks. Join me here at Penguin Beach daily to learn more about this African.
Pangolin, known as the respected wise old man of the African bush, is said to be a symbol of good luck and the bringer of rain. 8 species of pangolins are found worldwide, of which 4 occur in Africa. This mysterious creature is now the most poached animal on our planet. The African Pangolin Working Group will strive towards the conservation and protection of the African pangolin species and the habitat they live in. The African Pangolin Working Group has been mandated by the Department of Forestry, Fisheries and the Environment to assist and support the retrieval, release process and the research of pangolins in South Africa. Each rescued pangolin is assessed, treated and rehabilitated by an experienced team of veterinarians and rehabilitation specialists. We can ensure the survival of the species. Together, we can make a difference. WildEarth would like to acknowledge and thank all the amazing females who have worked tirelessly to share our nature with the world.
We're gonna have to just wait, okay? She's gonna come out there just on my right-hand side, and she can see these impala.
Now you've got to inhale it. It burns! I don't know if it's supposed to work instantly.
Go, girl, go! Get her! Get her, girl, get her! I'm so looking forward to following her story in the future.
I'm really hoping there's 2. I'm really hoping there's 2, but you know, even if there's 1. Oh my goodness, everyone.
And I get to share it with you. Isn't that extra special? I get to experience it and show it to everyone.
So, a rather strange update, and I'm making an educated guess here, but some of the guides from some of the other properties have told us that there are 17 or 18 lions on Little Gowrie, and this includes the Avoca males. So to me, that would mean that the other 15 or 16 should be the Nkuhumas, right? So these lines that we are tracking are not the Nkuhumas because they're going the opposite direction. So which part of lines are we tracking at the moment? Could it be the Tolomatis? Have they made a return? I don't know. But I definitely do not think it's the same lines we were tracking yesterday anymore. It looks like when we did Mvuba Road and Gallagher Pan, that little link road, when we did that, we found tracks coming in. When we did quarantine, there were tracks of the lines all over, very fresh tracks of the lines, literally just going up and down and then going north on Vuyatela axis, which were the initial tracks we followed from that mess. They went north, so we followed those. When we came back, we could see where the tracks were coming from, and it looks like they came from the north. That is strange and interesting, and that excites me because now I don't know who I'm tracking. But there's definitely no tracks coming from the south. So it is going to be interesting to see if we do manage to find them. It looks like they've done circles, and I think they might be somewhere between Gowrie Dam, maybe power lines, sandy patch. It's quite a large area, to be honest. They're doing circles. Jenna Miller, female animals on International Women's Day would be great. I agree. And in fact, our sunset safari this afternoon, I'm very excited because we're going to be focusing on everything Women's Day, celebrating us, of course, and celebrating the females in the animal kingdom as well. And of course, we have a special surprise. So I'm excited for you to join us this afternoon. We're going to focus on it a little bit more this afternoon, when the rest of the world is awake too. I'm excited. What a lovely International Women's Day surprise would it be if we found the Talamatis back on Djuma. It would be quite something. So I'm approaching Leopard now. I've kind of changed up to do a bit of a wider loop and back, just to make sure, because this is the area where Cedric had tracks yesterday, and I'm sure these have gone down to Little Gowrie. I'm sure this was the Nkuhumas with the 7 cubs, the 3 lionesses and 7 cubs, and I'm sure they've gone back south. So if there's no tracks coming north and we go back that way and start tracking again from quarantine, basically reset the circle, we might be able to narrow it down again. But it looks like they were having the best time on quarantine last night. Okay, so we're just going to stop and have a quick listen here at Leopard. This is where I found Tundi yesterday, just down the road. So let's just have a quick listen. So what I'm listening for is any alarm calling, whether it's squirrels or impalas or kudus or birds. And any other indications that there might be anything around. So I distinctly remember when I was here in January coming past and there was a hippo in Leopard, and it's such a small pan. Must have been the one from Gowrie Dam. But speaking of, I'm going to head down, see what else I can find on Twin Dams Road, and I'm going to send you to Gowrie Dam with Cedric and see what he's up to.
Yes, back at Gowrie Dam. Just trying to look out for anything that's approaching the dam itself. But I'm just taking a look at the grasses. You can just see the colorations starting to change now from really the greens now to the more of the light browns and the browns, just to show that it's actually the seasons is slowly but surely, or the winter season slowly but surely approaching us. Well, it is not much at the moment coming through the side, but it is beautiful just to see how the green, the contrast of the green and the light browns are coming together. It's really, really beautiful. Actually, I also love this time of the year when it comes to a different, or the change of seasons. Isn't it? The water levels definitely dropping. I was looking at Buffelshoek Dam yesterday, and Buffelshoek Dam is definitely holding the water much better than most of the dams around here. So that's fantastic. Oh, fantastic for Buffelshoek Dam. Gowrie Dam still got the water, but I think that's why the hippos ended up there at that side. I think it's just more of a secured dam or water hole, knowing when winter does approach, that it doesn't have to move to another waterhole or another area. But definitely this is beautiful. Just I always love the change of seasons. I really do. I really hope Tess and everybody out here this morning can find those 20 cats. Birdwatcher, good morning. Look, the Egyptian geese, the only way they really communicate is by vocal. So there's a lot of vocal communication. They really make a racket when they do communicate with each other. So there's no other way. They don't leave any scent behind. It's not scent marking or urinating or anything like that. It's mainly by vocal communication, and and they can. I mean, you can hear it from a mile away. When Egyptian geese do communicate, it's quite a racket. But that's the one way they do communicate with each other. But I saw those two Egyptian geese now. They actually just flew off. So I wonder if it's not the same pair that's been hanging around always at the water areas with their goslings. But yeah, they moved off again now. I think maybe they've got another water source somewhere that they're using. But yeah, definitely they're not hanging around here at Gowrie Dam anymore. And just enjoying that grass.
Do you dream of traveling to a far-flung wilderness location where life continues as normal? A place where you can escape to nature and breathe. If you become a WildEarth explorer, then this could soon become a reality. Subscribe today and stand a chance to win regular travel prizes. WildEarth Explorers, it's in your nature. Cape Nature is the chief custodian of the Western Cape of South Africa's natural environment. This highly successful organization strives to conserve the province's natural heritage to ensure a sustainable future. Besides nurturing nature, Cape Nature offers an authentic ecotourism experience to local and international visitors. And one of these experiences is walking amongst the penguins at Stony Point, or as we know it, Penguin Beach. WildEarth broadcasts live from here every day and is very privileged to be partnered with Cape Nature, who have focused their conservation efforts here. If you want to visit these iconic black and white African penguins for yourself, then head over to our website to find out more. Cape Nature. Conserve, explore, experience.
Guys, have a look at what we've got. This is better than my birthday. Look at that. This is the first time that I ever see cubs this small. This is so special. This has officially just become my best sighting of all times.
Tune into WildEarth every single day. It's in your nature.
I am an outdoor photographer, a wildlife filmmaker, and a conservation storyteller. Penguin Beach is going to offer us this really unique opportunity to watch and pick up on the smallest of details in the penguins' lives. It's going to allow us the time to really get to know these penguins well, get to know their story, and get to interpret the little finer details and share that with you with a live TV show and get you to...
Good morning and welcome back to Eco Training Pridelands. At the moment we are at Leopard Dam and we quickly popped in there to come and see if we could find any signs of wild dogs. We actually think that the call might have actually reached us a little bit further this morning and might have come from one of the adjoining properties. And unfortunately we won't be able to go and follow up over there. But what we did find is a striated heron, also known as a greenback heron, which is busy fishing. And every few seconds, we'll actually notice how it's picking off tiny little fish or insects off the surface of the water. That's also one of the unique herons that we do find out here in terms of its behavior. And one of the behaviors which I find particularly interesting is that they will actually use little tools to fish. And sometimes they'll take little pieces of food or either feathers and throw that in the water to attract fish so that they can get into striking distance and then catch them. Let's sit and watch him and at the same time listen to our woodland kingfisher that's calling in the background. Well, we're going to spend a little bit more time quickly at the dam and see what we can find over here and then move on. But let's go and see what Tess is up to.
So I'm sitting on Twin Dam's wall, and this is where Marips was yesterday. I believe Lunga was close by as well, and we spent quite a bit of time in the area looking for their tracks. It looks like they went further east. But we actually decided to come down and just see if there were any tracks of those lions crossing south. So we're just enjoying a bit of the view here. We're listening to some of the bird calls, considering we're close to the drainage line. It is a gorgeous area for that. Oh wow, that's such a gorgeous reflection. You could see the whole reflection of the trees. Well spotted, G. That is gorgeous. It's such a still day. There's literally barely a breeze, so the surface of the water is as smooth as glass at this point. And just really, really stunning. Now sitting up here, I can see that it's starting to dry out more than it was. When I was here 3 weeks ago, it was quite green around the edges. You can see it's starting to turn brown again. The dam looks like it's a little bit less full, and that's normal with evaporation and elephants drinking and things like that. But I thought it might be a good idea while we are here to resume the bird call challenge. So what I'm going to do is, while we are enjoying the view, I'm going to play you a bird call. If you haven't played the game before, please send in a comment. Tell us what you think it might be, whether you know the family or the specific bird, or even if it just reminds you of something. Please let me know. I'm going to play the bird call for you. We'll wait for some answers, and then I'll show you what it is in the book and play the call again. Huh, birds. Our lovely blacksmith lapwings. Alright, so I've chosen G's bird of choice this morning, and it's so funny because I had an idea of the one that I wanted to play in my head, and it completely changed and they're almost complete opposites. So it's quite amazing how these things happen. But anyway, here's the bird call. Let me know what you think it is. So it's a very big and deep call you can hear. And I'm sure it reminds you of a good few families. Actually, there's a few different families of birds that sound like that. So do let me know what you think it is. I'm excited to hear what it reminds people of. I believe it was quite soft. Let me play it again. I'm hoping that was a little bit better. So of all the bird calls that we play, that is probably one of the quietest ones, which is ironic because it's a very booming call. But it is one of the quietest ones that we play. Another golden orb spider. Fantastic. Framed by a piece of grass. And this one is much more still than the one we had earlier. Now that it's heated up, it's time to wait for insects to come into the web, where early in the morning, where we had the bigger female earlier, she still had enough time to fix the web overnight in case anything big came through before all the insects get active in the heat. So she was really perfecting. But I'm going to stay at the dam for a little bit longer, see what else we can find. I'm excited to hear your answers. And in the meantime, I'm going to send you back to Chris to see what he's up to.
Now, I've seen some line tracks on Mamba Road. So now I'm on the eastern cut line just to see where those tracks. It looks like they might have crossed a bit south. We know that some lines have been seen on Little Gowrie. But, you know, when you have tracks, always just double check, you know. It's just one of those days where there's tracks everywhere, but we're not finding the stuff. Surely would be nice to see some lions when we don't see them often. Hello there, cat lover. Cat lover wants to know, how does a mother leopard take care of an injured cub? Cat lover, there's not much they can do, depending on the severity of an injury. You know, if it's just a wound, she'll lick it, you know, keep it clean. But other than that, there's not really much they can do. The reality is, leopard cubs, especially when they're small, the mechanism of injury would be something like a lion or another leopard. Sorry, those line tracks are on the road. Oh, what is that? Yeah. Anyway, I'll get back to that just now. So often the mechanism of injury would be severe enough to cause a mortality. So again, there's not much that they can do. And it's a way how they're designed, you know. There is a high mortality rate amongst leopard cubs. There's a tortoise in the road, but it's obviously not alive anymore. Not entirely sure what could have caused that. What I'm going to do is just go a bit closer and just investigate what might have happened here. Also, the line tracks are around to make sure that I don't bump into them accidentally. Right, so let's take a look. This is rather sad. I don't see any mechanism of injury, any particular, you know, shell being cracked or anything like that. You know, often if it's ground hornbills, you would see a hole where they've pecked it, although they might have eaten it through the actual openings. This is in fact a hinged tortoise. This is not a leopard tortoise, the one we see commonly. You can see it's got a more flat, sort of more elongated sort of shape. It's a very old tortoise, this goodness, a big old female. And how we know it's a female is you can see this little concave, this little, actually it's a male, not a female. Look at this little dent there. So this is the Specs hinged tortoise. I cannot tell what killed it. It could very well have been ground hornbills, although I don't see any ground hornbill tracks. Right, so where that name hinged tortoise comes from, right there, round about there, those shields there are actually flexible. Obviously it's stiffened now, but they can close that part basically like a hinge. Definitely a male. You can see that sort of concave hole there. It's like a dent, and that's in order to fit on top of the female shell when they need to mate with them. Yeah, difficult to say what caused. And the mortality. It's one of those mysteries, I guess.
When on safari, there's nothing better than an evening spent under the stars chatting around a fire, with the sounds of the wild all around you. If you sign up to be a WildEarth explorer, you can build your own memories by joining our guides for regular fireside chats. Subscription payments can be made by PayPal, credit card, and now bank transfer. WildEarth Explorers, it's in your nature.
This is Picky Plastic, and Picky Plastic is excited about the Global Recycling Day. Recycling plays a big role in the WildEarth environment, from protecting the penguin colony at Stony Point by cleaning up the oceans, to ensuring that the safari team reports littering and recycles within the camps. Join WildEarth and be a part of Global Recycling Day on the 18th of March, 2022.
This warthog is in big trouble. He's got elephants all around. What are you going to do there, big guy? What are you going to do? Oh, he's pretty brave though. Oh man, he's not even moving. Look, that elephant is trying his best, but that warthog ain't budging. That's madness. That's so funny. And we have a winner. The warthog wins the standoff.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
How's it going, WildEarth? My name is Igor. I'm a camera operator for Penguin Beach. I've been a camera operator for almost 10 years now. What I love the most about working at WildEarth is the amount of time that I get to spend in nature and observing animals in their natural environments. Not only that, but actually being able to see animals as they grow up. But when I'm not working on WildEarth, what I love the most is to spend time in nature. I jump in the sea as often as I can. I take hikes. So I love being in the sea, I love being in the mountains, I love being in the desert. So I try and do that as much as I possibly can. The thing I love most about these African penguins is actually their character. If you look at the attitude that they actually have while going about their business, it is just the best thing. The questions I love getting the most from viewers are very thoughtful questions. Questions born out of genuine curiosity and a love and a passion for coastal wildlife.
Right, so I want to show you these lion tracks. It looks like a lioness with some relatively older cubs. That's just where we are now currently, the substrate. We won't be able to see it clearly in terms of, you know, camera and so forth, but it's still going southwest on Leopard towards Gowrie, Maine. I don't think these lions are still on our property. They probably have crossed over south into Little Gowrie, but while we have these tracks, we'll still keep following them. So I'm just looking for a good opportunity to just show you some of these tracks, but like I said, the substrate is not that great. The border is just up ahead, so it is rather frustrating in a way, knowing that they very likely crossed out of Djuma. But what I do like, the sun. What I do like about it is at least there's activity in the area. You know, maybe perhaps tomorrow we might have lions around, and I know some of the guys, including Tessa, are still operating in the north. There's some lion tracks up quarantine via tele-access. When we had that lioness tracks just west of there, it's weird. And I've checked Triple M, there's nothing going west. So I think those lions are still on the property. These ones, I'm not so sure. I can see the power lines up ahead and the tracks are still going straight. Alright, so maybe we won't be having any luck with these lions. They probably luckily crossed, but let's head over to Tess and see what she's up to.
Seems like we are all tracking lions this morning. They have literally been doing circles. And I'm hoping that this diker is going to stay. No, gone. Literally just dust left. There was a diker on the edge of the drainage line. It's gone. So I've just left Twin Dams and I'm checking Elephant Carcass because this is where Cedric had the tracks going to yesterday. And now I think these are the ones, because Chris was saying he's got tracks of lionesses with older cubs. These might be the same tracks. and I think they went south towards Little Gowrie. Now the other tracks that we had around Quarantine and going north and west on Vuyatela access and then cutting north towards Buffelsakatlan, there is a game viewer in the area that is also following those tracks because they seem to be doing circles. So we just want to get a little bit of clarification on which tracks are where and what is happening. It would help a lot. But Hannah asked a question earlier about the sub-adults of the Talamati Pride. I was hoping that we might have the Talamatis back because the tracks that we seem to have been following look like they came from the north. So that makes me think, well, hope that the Talamatis might be back. But I know that they were seen in Dulini 2 days ago again. So they are still in the southwestern sector. They might have covered the distance in 2 days and come back, but that's the last update I could find on the Talamatis was 2 days ago in Dulini. And from what I remember, there were 3 sub-adult males and 6 sub-adult females. Now, I'm not sure if that's changed in the last little bit because we haven't seen them. I'm still trying to find an update on whether all of them are still together and what is happening there. But we will have to wait and see. But if anyone does have more information, I will gladly take it. I'd very much appreciate it if you do have more information. But I have had a look. I can't seem to find anything more recently than 2 days ago in Dulini. But that's still quite fresh, 2 days ago. It's not bad at all. Very similar to the Avoca male movements with dark mane going all the way down to Londolozi. And of course, Blondie and Mohawk are part of the 17 or 18 on Little Gowrie. Frederick, the front legs would be a little bit stronger than the back legs in terms of the holding capability, because remember, the front of a lion is a little bit bigger than the back, especially a male lion holding up the head and the very heavy mane. And you can imagine if a lion gets wet, it gets quite heavy if you've got a mane. But that being said, they have to have a lot of pushing power from the back for when they're hunting at speed and jumping. So they've got a lot of power in both sets. I would think though that the front legs, especially the shoulder and what we would call the bicep, would be a little bit stronger for hanging on because they have to hunt bigger items, things like buffaloes, zebras, wildebeest, sometimes giraffes, baby elephants. So they have to be pretty strong all around. I don't know how much stronger it would be, but in my mind it would be stronger in the front than the back legs. They have to have a lot of pushing power to run and keep up, but that also comes from pulling with the front. But hanging on is specifically with the front of the body and holding the weight of the front half of the body. So yes, I would think that. Cedric might get excited with that. There's an update that there's a big herd of elephants on Vuyatela access going towards Gowrie Dam. Maybe they will pop up with Cedric. Right, so I'm checking Weaver's Nest Road. I'm not going all the way back towards Treehouse Dam. Is that an elephant? It's just an elephant day. Yes, there are some elephants. And they are actually also moving towards us. It's very thick, but because they're moving towards the road, I'm actually going to wait for them to come to us instead of off-roading. But I don't want to go all the way to Treehouse Dam. I want to rather check Weaver's Nest to make sure there are no tracks coming up this way. Oh, tiny calf. So they're just coming through the gap there. There you can see them. And they're coming straight towards the road. Another small calf coming. Beautiful. I wonder where they're going to. Right, I'm going to move us a little bit forward because they are going to cross in front of us. Elephant day. I was quite shocked that I didn't see elephants yesterday, but nature seems to be reversing the roles today, and there are so many. It is lovely to see. There are lots of hyena tracks along here. Wow. Oh, Oh my goodness, we've got an entire herd literally around us. It's quite a big herd.
Anyone mobile on Djuma?
Go ahead.
Just wanted to find out, is it possible for us to samba onto this mighty in front of Wiyatela?
Do you mean Gallagher Pan, the one next to the viewing deck? Everybody's trying to keep up. This is actually, it looks like a young male at the back trying to keep up with the rest of the herd. That's amazing. Now they're all relaxing in front of the termite mound there. And we're going to have to reposition a little bit to get a nice view of all of them. But that's quite a large herd. And I'm wondering what's made them stop there. Because there isn't a waterhole or anything there that I'm aware of. Not even a little plan system. Maybe just a thicker patch of greenery. I love it when elephants move. It's like everybody decides to move at once, following the matriarch, of course, on Women's Day, following the matriarch. And it's like they just move at speed and you don't see them again. God. Oh, I love that smell. Elephants. This is definitely girl power on Women's Day. A massive herd of elephants with females and calves. Wow. And it's getting dry now, so every time they move, look at that dust. It's like a dust cloud around the elephants. It looks misty. Just have a listen. You can hear them pulling the grass out and walking. Jason Short, a young elephant will start using its trunk pretty much from birth, but they can't. Oh, I love that sound. They can't use it properly until about 6 months old is when they really start to master it a bit more, but it can take up to 2 years for an elephant to be able to do pretty much anything with its trunk. But from birth you'll see elephants, the calves literally sucking on the end of their trunk, almost like a child would suck their thumb, and also trying to use it. So it's not as though they're born and it's completely useless until they're 6 months old. They're already using it. It's muscular, so they have to use it from birth. But they're not very good at it until about 6 months old. And there are a lot of little calves in this herd. Of course, the grass is quite long and there's quite a lot of thickets, so it's tough to see them, but at least we can see one. Yeah, you can see that's a very young calf and it's already throwing grass around with its trunk. The sound of elephants moving is always amazing, and you can hear all the branches breaking and a lot of feeding happening. It makes my heart happy. But they're disappearing into the thickets, so I'm going to watch them leave, and then I'm going to carry on checking for those lion tracks back towards quarantine.
The Endangered Wildlife Trust is among Southern Africa's largest and most established non-governmental conservation organizations. Our strategic vision centers on saving species, conserving habitats, and benefiting people. In 2021, the EWT secured habitats, reintroduced African wild dogs and cheetahs into reserves across Southern Africa, and created vulture-safe zones to reduce major threats to vultures, such as poisoning and electrocution. On the 3rd of March 2022, we celebrate World Wildlife Day under the theme Recovering Key Species from Ecosystem Restoration. Standing strong alongside our partners, donors, supporters and friends, the EWT staff have achieved remarkable gains for conservation. Thank you for helping us protect forever together.
This is incredible. Looks like vivid monkeys do sometimes go for swims. I heard something splash, but we couldn't see what it was in the long grass. Now I just saw that thing swimming there. This is incredible. I hope it gets to the bank. There are crocodiles in this dam. And looks like, you see that monkey climb up into the tree? Wow.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
Stanley is such an awesome African penguin, and personally, my favorite. I love Stanley because of that amazing plumage variation, that beautiful broad black breastband with the cutest little white heart directly in the middle. And Stanley plays hard to get, but we are so happy to have him down here at Stony Point and can't wait to share Stanley's life with you.
Welcome back to Gary Dam. Here you see a couple of Burchell starting, just having a nice drink, and even the Cape Turtle Dove has made their way down to the water. So today is going to be a warm day, so little Burchell starling's not taking too much trouble from that Cape Turtle Dove. I'm just taking a look around here. They said there was some elephants that was approaching this area, but I did comb through the area and I haven't seen anything come down here yet. Of course, the bird life is still very, very active now this early morning. It is absolutely amazing. As well, that you'll sometimes see little ripples on the dam itself, on the water areas or the water edges. Many times you'll find like even the catfish, like the barbel, it'll come to the top and just come to the surface and surfacing, and then they go down again. And many times you'll find the catfish will actually survive in very, very drought areas. So one of the fish species that can really succeed in dry times. But also the catfish is one of those fish, no, you can't really eat it. You can, there's certain people say that you can eat them. It's a certain way you do prepare it. Well, I know that there's a thing that they always say. It's like, if you want to eat catfish, you prepare it in foil, put tomatoes, onions, put it on the fire, and actually, you know, make a nice braai or barbecue with the catfish. But once you've finished drying it or putting it on the fire, you take the catfish out of the foil and you eat the foil. That's how tasteless the catfish is, because it is very much a bottom feeder, so it does not taste that well. But as you can see, a lot of the ripples around here, all the catfish coming to the surface. As well, that's also got a kingfisher. I'm just trying to find a kingfisher. I'm definitely going to look around this area if you can pick up on that woodlands kingfisher. It keeps on dipping itself. A nice bathe for the morning. But it is definitely a beautiful, beautiful morning today. Absolutely beautiful. There is a big herd of elephants coming down, but still, as I said, I did comb through the area. I haven't seen them yet. I think they might be just on the outskirts, but they will definitely come through. Right, good morning. Catfish, yes, so you'll find that they'll actually sometimes scavenge, even on, like, if there's something that's dead in the water, you'll find catfish actually eating on a dead matter. And there's also the bottom feeders, so many times you'll find plant decaying matter that will also feed on. So that's why I say they don't taste that well, because they eat just things that you would not expect. So you'll find them actually moving along the ground. Even in the muddy areas, you'll find a lot of decaying plant matter that will actually slurp up and will actually feed on that. That's why it's a very tasteless and not tasteless, but not the greatest fish to eat. Actually, you'll find that even the water hyacinth, now that water hyacinth that's always on the side of the dams itself, once that starts decaying, especially the root system that's under that water hyacinth, you'll find that root system, as soon as it starts dying off and starts floating, or actually just sinking down, because it's a very hard and a very solid root system, and it'll float down, or actually sink to the bottom, and I'll feed on that. But while I'm looking around, let's head to Chris and see how his tracking is going.
Talking about Cedric, we're just crossing the dam wall. We gave him a little thumbs up. Hope he saw that. We abandoned those lion tracks. They did indeed go south into Little Gowrie. It's just lion and leopard tracks all over the place, and we're not finding any of them. But that's how it goes, I guess. Eh? This is where the cookie crumbles. I was just telling Morgan, we've hardly seen impala even today. Just one of those real quiet days. Well, we had those elephants. That was pretty cool. Well, we've got about an hour left, so maybe we can pull out the proverbial rabbit out of the hat. Hi, good morning, Debbie Dawn. Wants to know if there's any update on the hyenas. Not from my side. I've not been to any of the den sites because I've been tracking other animals, so often we won't be able to go to the hyenas purely because we are busy with tracking other things, I am certain that somebody will head there this afternoon. Sorry, let me look at the camera again. Now, I know Cedric's on dam cam, and he's probably seen this, but just a little different perspective on the same animal. Okay, I'm gonna have to guide Morgan into this bird. This is where those parrots are nesting, but just on the other side, as opposed to the dam cam. You got it there, Morgan. That's it. There we go. Little brown-headed parrot. Going back to the hyenas, yeah, somebody will go there. I'm not sure where Tess is, whether she's perhaps in that region, but somebody will go there at some stage. To put it a bit into perspective, at times we are not close to those den sites. We sometimes operating elsewhere, and in to go there might take you away from the immediate area that you are working. Well, perhaps we should go to Tess. Maybe, just maybe, she might have an update for us on the hyenas.
I wish I had a more colourful update of the hyenas. This is the third den site that we have checked, and unfortunately they are all empty. It's a little bit too hot. I can see a wealth of tracks coming in and out though, so they've definitely been active overnight. But at the moment, all 3 hyena dens are empty. I checked Ribbon's den site, I then went and checked Hart's den site on Tima, the other one, the one on Taxon's Road, very close to Philemon's cut line. And this is the one further south, a little bit closer to Treehouse Dam. And I can see there's been a lot of activity here, but unfortunately, no hyenas actually at the den site. But while we sit here, before we leave, I quickly want to do our answers to our bird call challenge. Thank you so much for sending the answers in. I really appreciate it. So we had some different answers. Andrea Smith, 66, thought it might be a ground hornbill. Sherry P thought maybe an owl. Pangolins galore also thought a southern ground hornbill. So very, very, very similar. Absolutely. The sound can be very confusing because it sounds very, very close to a ground hornbill or even a Verreaux's eagle owl. But in fact, Flocky Cat or Floki Cat, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, got it right with an ostrich. And that is exactly what the bird call is. It is an ostrich. Slight difference between male and female when you're looking at ostriches. But if I would have heard that call early on in my career, I also would have said a southern ground hornbill. So it is a very similar call, that very deep booming sound, but absolutely an ostrich. So what I will do is I will play the call for you quickly so that you can hear it and you can then kind of put it into your mind that that is the call that we've been listening to. So let me grab it for you. And I think personally, you know, I've hardly heard ostriches actually calling. This is a particular male that was recorded calling. They call mostly mornings and evenings. It's territorial. But it is nice to hear. I've never actually heard a female vocalizing. Here's the sound. So it does, in my brain, sound very similar to a southern ground hornbill. So I'm very impressed with the answers. Everyone was on the right track. And thank you so much for sending those answers in. And again, Flocky Cat, well done on getting it right as an ostrich. For now, though, we're actually going to leave. Again, it looks like there have been a lot of tracks on the road. I was just saying to G, you know, the few times that I have been to check this particular den site, I haven't seen this many tracks on the road. I've seen maybe one set of tracks here or there just using it as a track to get through, and there are so many hyena tracks here, so we know it is active. We've just got to figure it out. But while I head back towards the area of Vuyatela access, let's head over to JP, who's at the dam.
Welcome back to Eco Training Pridelands. At first we thought we were in for a very, very quiet morning, and then we decided to quickly pop into one of the dams. Sat there, looked at a bird or two, and then suddenly out of nowhere we had several herds of elephants that came in. The group that we are watching at the moment is both breeding herds as well as some bachelor herds that came in, and a number of individual bulls which also came in after the breeding herd. Most likely you come and see if they can find the females that are in estrus. I was also very happy because my happiness levels has been increased by tenfold. One of the baby elephants was swimming for a short while, and I haven't seen elephants swimming for quite a bit now. And I just wished more of them wanted to follow his lead and also continue swimming and turning it into one big pool party. I just love it when they do that. There's a wide range of different behaviors that we see at the moment. Most of it is basically drinking, as well as focused about cooling themselves down, as well as getting rid of excess parasites, which is on the coat, by simply adding a large amount of mud on themselves. Let's just sit and watch them, and at the same time, just listen to the different sounds in the background. Good morning, Megan, and welcome to the show. Yes, and it's definitely an elephant parade, and we're very happy that there's a big elephant parade at the moment. I can't help to wonder if there's more of them going to pop out of behind the wall of the dam, as well as from the other side of the bush. I do really hope so. I just love seeing big groups of elephants like this.
I am here at Jacuzzi, where Cheeky the African penguin was identified for the first time on the 20th of January 2022, and Cheeky can be distinguished from the other African penguins by its broad black breastband, as well as its beautiful black spots along its belly. My favorite distinguishing feature of this African penguin is its beautiful white cheeks. Join me here at Penguin Beach daily to learn more about this African penguin.
Pangolin, known as the respected wise old man of the African bush, is said to be a symbol of good luck and the bringer of rain. 8 species of pangolins are found worldwide, of which 4 occur in Africa. This mysterious creature is now the most poached animal on our planet. The African Pangolin Working Group will strive towards the conservation and protection of the African pangolin species and the habitat they live in. The African Pangolin Working Group has been mandated by the Department of Forestry, Fisheries and the Environment to assist and support the retrieval, release process and the research of pangolins in South Africa. Each rescued pangolin is assessed, treated and rehabilitated by an experienced team of veterinarians and rehabilitation specialists. We can ensure the survival of the species. Together, we can make a difference.
It's a legless skink, but I'm trying to identify this snake that's come out. Oh, no ways. It's decided to leave. Go off the road, making way for it, and then we'll carry on.
Identifying individual African penguins can be extremely challenging because at first glance, they all look the same. Identifying Duo, an African penguin with a double breastband, was extremely exciting for me. Less than 5% of the African penguin population has this unique variation in plumage, and I can't wait to share Duo's life with everyone on WildEarth.
Welcome back to Islands. Most of our elephants have now unfortunately started moving off, and we see that the breeding herds were the first ones to actually start moving off. Well, there's still a number of bulls that are hanging around, and some of the younger bulls that are actually play fighting at the moment. If you ever wondered why animals will often play fight, and the reason is simple. You need to develop those skills so that you can use them in adulthood. When those are becoming critical skills which might save your life, especially with elephants, as that they often do fight to the bitter end when it comes to actually gaining dominance as well as having the opportunity to mate with females. We do find that incredibly large animals, and generally also animals such as predators, tend to actually have more severe fights where somebody who is definitely going to pay with their life, compared to antelopes and species of animals which needs their health and well-being to stay away from predators, where they actually have a more ritualized way of fighting. I'm just going to quickly move off over here. I'm actually just on the side over here, and there's another group of elephants that is approaching us. I just want to watch them while we're actually watching the other elephants. I'm just going to ask you, Johan, to keep an eye on the ones at the water while I'm watching ones behind me. This rounds it up to almost now 50 elephants for the morning, which is pretty awesome. And they all just popped out of nowhere in the last 15 minutes. I'm just going to talk to the group of elephants behind us while Johan is watching the others. It's all good, you can pass us. They did smell us, and because they smelt us, the dominant cow in that group was actually a little bit anxious about what's going on. Now that I started speaking to her and she's identified what we are and that she knows that we are not a threat and that we're speaking at a constant level, they're all moving past us. And they'll pop out somewhere there on Johan's left-hand side in the next few seconds. As we watch him moving towards the water, let's go and see what Chris and the rest of the team is up to.
Right, we just found Fang and her herd. And I had to just quickly reposition because they're on the move. We're struggling to keep up with them. There's a steenbok right here, by the way. While we're watching the Ellies. Male steenbok ram. And we don't often get to frame them up. You know, they often just run at first. I was actually stopping to view these elephants. There we go. I don't see Fang at the moment. She's somewhere around here. Hi there, Fiona. Wants to know if elephants will notice if a member of the herd's gone missing. Yeah, they probably will. We know the elephants are quite intelligent and they will certainly know that. There's no real reason why it would go missing other than maybe getting separated by weather or something like that. But again, like I mentioned earlier, they can communicate over long distances. So you would probably find that in such a case, they'll still be in contact and communicate and try and join up eventually. I'll tell you one thing, it's not much of a breeze anymore and the sun is getting rather spiky. I think it's going to be a hot afternoon. Waterholes are definitely going to be the place to be this afternoon. Anyway, let's head over to JP and see what his elephant's up to.
Welcome back to Pridelands. We're now looking at the group that just sneaked in, and if you were wondering a little bit earlier why I was talking to them, if you do speak to elephants and it's a consistent level, at least they become aware of you and they don't get startled if they suddenly do get close to you, or if you use your voice very suddenly. What we also do find, if they do become a little bit of a challenge, you can also just raise your level of your voice and immediately it will stop. And if you bring it down to a more even tone voice, then they relax again. At the same time now, our sighting is just improving as we also have got a number of zebra as well as giraffe coming into our sighting. I just love waterholes at this time of year, especially when it starts warming up, things start happening. And within the next month or so, I'm sure that all the small little pans are going to be dried up and all the attention is going to be around the main waterholes on Pridelands. These are also perfect ambush points for many predators, and this is where we do find most of them waiting for prey species to come to water during the winter months. You'll often probably hear me saying that it's quite rewarding sitting at a waterhole, and it's one of the places where you can spend quite a lot of time, and just by simply waiting, things will eventually happen. I personally don't like to drive around aimlessly and looking for things. However, if there's good tracks and there's things worthwhile to follow up on, yes, by all means, then I will do so. But for me, it's still the most rewarding to actually go and sit and just simply wait. Some of the other places where I've also had incredibly good sightings over the years are actually game reserves, which has photographic hides or bird hides. And by simply sitting watching birds, you actually will notice that the animals will just simply pop out of nowhere. And quite often when we've done guided excursions where we purely focus on birds, because we're so patient and because we take our time, we end up seeing way more animals than many of the other vehicles that are purely focused on animals only. Good morning, Cam, and welcome to the show. Between breeding herds, we don't really ever see that there's any form of conflict, and neither do you really find that there was any form of conflict with bachelors between different bachelor herds. But what you will notice is that there's definitely competition within the bachelor herds for dominance. And then when it is going to come to conflict with elephants, it's going to be bulls that are in full must, which is looking for mating opportunities. They generally tend to be on their own at that point. A giraffe is now coming slightly closer to the water. You'll notice that it will actually stop, look, and then stop. And then it will look again from left to right. And once it's 100% sure that it's safe, it will actually approach the water. Because if your head is down all that way into the water, it's almost a difference between 4.5 meters. You are actually quite vulnerable as you can no longer see what's going on around you.
Peaceful surroundings, the nature is not something I can get in my homeland. So it's wonderful to be able to be live, with you guys and feel like you're actually there.
If you want to go on safari with a WildEarth guide, whilst honing your bush knowledge and of course featuring in one of our shows, then head over to our website.
With wild dogs, wonderful, absolutely wonderful. We don't always get to see those, so that's just been amazing.
Sign up to be a WildEarth explorer and you could be making your first ever on-screen appearance.
Well, I wanted to be part of the support of WildEarth. It brings so much to everybody, and everything has brought so much to me, especially, got me through some difficult times myself. I found WildEarth shortly before I was going to go through some things in my own personal life, and it's what got me through, and I know that's a story for many, many, many people, so it's important to me to provide support to that.
Cape Nature is the chief custodian of the Western Cape of South Africa's natural environment. This highly successful organization strives to conserve the province's natural heritage to ensure a sustainable future. Besides nurturing nature, Cape Nature offers an authentic ecotourism experience to local and international visitors. And one of these experiences is walking amongst the penguins at Stony Point, or as we know it, Penguin Beach. WildEarth broadcasts live from here every day and is very privileged to be partnered with Cape Nature, who have focused their conservation efforts here. If you want to visit these iconic black and white African penguins for yourself, then head over to our website to find out more. Cape Nature. Conserve, explore, experience.
Welcome back to Eco Training Province. Unfortunately, our giraffe has now moved off, but we have another 3 elephants that quickly popped in to come and have a drink. If you wonder how I separate them from those that have not been drinking, it's quite often their legs are water stained if they already had a drink, and that will remain wet for quite a while. So you can see these 3 individuals, their legs are still dry. And what they're doing is they're actually picking up on the scent of a breeding herd, and it doesn't look like they're actually going to stop to drink. It seems that they're simply just going to follow. Okay, one of them has changed his mind, and it seems as if he's now moving off towards the water. So one of the questions that I do get asked quite often is, what is the difference between African elephants and Asiatic elephants? Firstly, obviously, they are separated by means of distribution. They also are in a totally different genus. What we do also find is that they're much smaller compared to the 2 species of African elephant. If we also do look at the back of African elephant, you'll notice that there's like a slight saddle on the top of the back. While we actually do find with Asiatic elephants that it's actually rotund or round in shape. We also will notice that their ears is much smaller than that of the 2 species of African elephant. And also when it comes to the ear shape, it resembles that of the African continent compared to that of the Asiatic elephant, which resembles the shape of a sub-Indian continent. There's also a few other features. It's almost like if there's 2 lobes on the forehead of Asiatic elephant, while we see that the head profile tends to be much more rounded in the 2 species of African elephant. And also when it does come to tusk, we also find that it's generally only males with Asiatic elephants which has tusks, while we generally find that both sexes in the African elephants have tusks. But you will also notice that there is some populations which is actually tuskless, and that was a cause of past hunting activities in those areas where the largest tusked individuals were the ones which were selected, and that has altered the genetics within those populations. I was going to ask you, Han, if you can maybe try and focus on the tip of a trunk of one of those elephants. And if you do look at the tip of a trunk, you'll actually notice that there's also 2 little lips at the opposite end, and this enables them to pick up very small little objects. When it does come to Asiatic elephant, they only have 1 of those little lips, and that's on the upper part of the trunk. tip. That's just a few of the little differences which you can use to actually separate these two species. We're going to sit and watch him for a little bit longer and see what else comes into our dam, as it seems if the Ndlovu Dam is really living up to its reputation, as Ndlovu actually is an African word for elephant. And now we've also got some impalas coming in. But let's go and see what Chris is doing.
Stop here with this herd of impala. Still some elephants around us. They seem to be moving around quarantine. I'm just ducking there so Morgan can get to them. A little crested barbet also going off in the background. Yeah, there's like a sort of electric noise there in the background. Stop now. It's amazing how quiet they can move for such large animals. Surely a lot of ellies around this morning. Cats have been a little absent. And we'll take the elephants anytime. Let's go over to Tess and see what she's up to.
One clearly. So we had this very strange experience where we pulled up and you can hear this just symphony of birds calling. And you know that we could not spot a single one that was calling, and we could probably hear 10, 20, 30 of them. And it's actually magpie shrikes that you can hear. It's a very strange call, very high-pitched. And it took us ages. It literally took us a good few minutes to spot one magpie shrike. This is the only one we can currently see, but listen to all of them around us. It's just one of the most unusual calls. And to hear so many together is quite normal because they live in flocks. But for us to not be able to see any other than this one, and even then it took us a good 3 minutes just to find this one, has been unreal. Oh, look at that gorgeous long tail. So we've definitely found what we call a bird party or a hotspot, where we've got a bunch of different birds calling and hopping around every now and then that we're seeing. We've also got wildebeest and impala here. Benjamin, the bird calls are very calming. It's one of those things where you can just sit and appreciate it for ages and ages. And we're up on Sandy Patch in the clearing, and there just seems to be this life around us. So while we're watching, you'll see some wildebeest moving through the background now and then. You'll see some impalas moving and other birds flitting around. Oh, silence. all the magpie shrikes stopped calling. But in the tree we've got red-billed buffalo weavers as well. We've got starlings. It's just this hub of activity. So while we're watching just a little bit with the movement, let's just have a listen to all the birds calling around us. It is absolutely stunning. So it's going to be interesting to see how the bird calls are going to change in the next few months, because now all the migratory species are going to start going back, woodland kingfishers and all of those. It's going to be interesting. Anyway, I'm going to sit here for a little bit longer and just have a listen to all of the sounds.
This is Picky Plastic, and Picky Plastic is excited about the Global Recycling Day. Recycling plays a big role in the WildEarth environment, from protecting the penguin colony at Stony Point by cleaning up the oceans, to ensuring that the safari team reports littering and recycles within the camps. Join WildEarth and be a part of Global Recycling Day on the 18th of March 2022.
The thing I love about Russ is that she's taking good care of us. She gets us to sightings, like we drive over big blocks.
The most memorable experience with Wendy was 2 nights ago. In fact, last night, when I had a flat tire right in the middle of a herd of 400 buffalo and had to change it right there and then. That was by far my most memorable experience with this trusty old girl.
The only tough experience on Rusty would be to forget to charge her.
Well, she's only broken down with me once, and it was basically just a loose steering rod that we fixed in the field.
We use big batteries to power up everything, so if it happens that you don't charge it, she'll die on you, eh?
Since then, she's treated me very well. She's taken me into a number of sightings, and it just seems to keep going.
It has been a wonderful privilege to identify one of our key characters here at Penguin Beach, Pepper, with a very, very distinct facial patterning, as the name would suggest, very peppered and speckled belly. I'm really looking forward to seeing what this penguin does over the next few days and months. Because of those unique markings, it's going to be really, really cool to watch it as it moves around the penguin colony point.
Here's back at Gowrie Dam. Oh, I'm just following this blacksmith lapwing. Just walking along the water edges, just catching the little water insects, like your little pond scrapers, little larvas of the mosquitoes. So they really, really feed all along the water areas. I do really love the blacksmith lapwings. I think they are absolutely formidable parental birds that really look after their nests and their little chicks. The thing is, they are precocial meaning then when the chicks are born or when they hatch, their eyes are open and they've really got downing feathers. Well, why is that? Is because they are very much vulnerable to most predators being pretty much the nest or the nesting sites on the ground, it's way more kind of exposed to any of the predators. Compared to your tree nesting birds, where they are atrocial, so that meaning chicks are born eyes closed, still pink, and no feathers. And of course, they've got the safety net of being high up in a tree. As well as the little lapwings' eggs are very well camouflaged. Even the little chicks, when they hatch, they're very spotty and speckled, so they can really blend in with the surroundings and with the ground. And as you can see, this, I absolutely love the coloration. Of course, the blacksmith getting the name from because of the call. It makes it real. That sounds like a blacksmith hitting a metal hammer on an anvil. So it's got that real high ding, ding, ding noise. And that's very, very distinctive for the blacksmith lapwing. And you'll find as well you'll get your water thickneys that also hangs around in the same areas. Yellow, yes, good morning. That is, it's a stunning, stunning bird. It is beautiful. I think the coloration, the black is so black, on the head and on the chest of the blacksmith lapwing. There's a bit of the grey and that white forehead. It's really, really a beautiful bird. And so, as I said, they are formidable parents. I've seen them actually divert a herd of elephants around the nesting site. They really hold their ground. So it is a very, very beautiful bird. There's those long black legs as well. Most of the water, most of the dams and rivers, if you actually really look carefully, you always see them around the areas. Well, I'm just sitting here enjoying the lapwing. Let's head back to JP in Pridelands, see what's happening at the dam that side.
Welcome back to Eco-Training Pridelands. At the moment, all our animals have now disappeared. We also say there's a little bit of a drop in temperature. And what we do find is that there's quite a large number of different birds that are coming in for drinks. We're just going to try and focus on that edge of the water where they are landing, and we'll just quickly tell you what we can see. One of them that's hopping around there on the branch, moving towards the water, is one of the firefinch species. It's unfortunately a little bit far for me to make out all the details and actually see which one of the three firefinch species it is. The firefinches are all host for the different indigo birds, which we also find out here. And a few days ago, we actually had purple indigo bird, which parasitizes the Jameson's firefinch. For those of you that didn't join us on that segment, it's actually quite fascinating that they even have to evolve the strategy where the young have to mimic the mouth patterns of the firefinches. Otherwise, they won't actually feed them. So what we also see is that they did studies in laboratories where they've actually blotched out the feeding marks or the mouth markings in some of the indigo birds, and then found that the firefinch won't feed them. When it does come to the different species of indigo bird, we also find that they're host specific. They only will go for one specific species of firefinch. We also see that there's quite a wide range of different strategy when it does come to a number of the other brood parasites, such as, for example, cuckoos and honey guides, which actually parasitizes a wide range of different bird species. Good morning, Beverly, and welcome to the show. Yes, Pridelands is delivering again this morning. I'm going to have another look through the binoculars and see which other birds are moving in and out there. There was a group of quillias which was also coming in, and some blue wax balls, but they now all seem to have disappeared. But we do have a single impala ram that is now approaching the edge of the dam as well. In the last month, we actually started noticing that the breeding herds of impalas, or mixed herds of impalas, have started splitting up. And they've actually started forming small little groups of bachelor herds, as well as all female groups. And in the last week, we've actually already started noticing the very first males that are setting up their territories. Let's see what's going to happen in the next few weeks, as I just love this time of year when they start writing. You'll actually hear that there's a whole different energy in terms of sounds in the bush. While we're watching our impalas, see what they get up to. Let's go and see what Chris is doing.
Right, now we're just checking the boundary again. There's more lion tracks. It's just one of those days where there's leopard and lion tracks all over. There's now lion tracks on top of my tracks from this morning. And it's just, where are those guys? So we've got a couple of minutes left. So, you know, Morgan and I said we're going to give up. We're just going to drive the boundary, try and figure out, you know, what's next. Just one of those mornings. This road surely needs a bit of a grading because it's very corrugated. Just from... Hi there, Julia. And Julia says the big cats are playing hide and seek. Yeah, they're pretty much. I promise you, I've seen about 5 different sets of leopard tracks today. Not necessarily different animals, or different places. Lion tracks literally all over. And I just don't know where any of those cats have gone to. But you know what? Perhaps it might set us up for the afternoon. So we might feel like immediately now, like, oh, okay, we tracked them and we can't find them. But I try and see the positive out of this. This might just sort of lay the table for a very, very juicy meal this afternoon. And the nice thing is it's going to be relatively warm this afternoon. You can already feel the... I just saw something I want to investigate there quickly. Sorry about that. It's not typically what I would do. Morgan. You know, today is International Women's Day. And this is one for all the ladies out there. Stay tuned, this is going to be epic. Right, so this is called the balloon vine. I've not seen it around a lot. Can I do it on the dash? Ladies, you can have your world rock now. In specific, my wife at home, I'm hoping that you are watching this. Right, balloon vine. Cardiospermum. The reason why it's called cardiospermum, it's got these little black seeds. And I'm not sure if Morgan's going to be able to zoom into that. This is the showstopper. I might need to put it in my hand. But they're black, round little black seeds, and each one of them have this perfect little white heart in the middle. Just look at that. There we go. I'm not sure if you can get that. Anyway, cardiospermum, you know, heart seed, the balloon vine. And this is one for the ladies out there. Just a bit of an appreciation from myself and Morgan. And the little gift for all of you. The balloon vine. Look at that beautiful little white heart on the seed. Isn't that too precious? just shows you don't always have to have big cats. Sometimes the smallest of things can be very, very entertaining.
Spinning around in outer space, our planet gives life to the human race. Every day when WildEarth is out on drive, we see our Earth's beauty. We see her alive. We need our planet, that is true, but our planet needs us too. WildEarth will be celebrating Earth Day on the 22nd of April with a special safari live show. The Endangered Wildlife Trust is among Southern Africa's largest and most established non-governmental conservation organizations. Our strategic vision centers on saving species, conserving habitats, and benefiting people. In 2021, the EWT secured habitats, reintroduced African wild dogs and cheetahs into reserves across Southern Africa, and created vulture-safe zones to reduce major threats to vultures, such as poisoning and electrocution. On the 3rd of March 2022, we celebrate World Wildlife Day under the theme Recovering Key Species from Ecosystem Restoration. Standing strong alongside our partners, donors, supporters and friends, the EWT staff have achieved remarkable gains for conservation. Thank you for helping us protect forever together.
Right, so Marips has found himself a puff adder that he's busy playing with, which is dangerous. I've seen leopards die from puff adder bites. I think he got hit on the paw. So he's obviously taken snakes on before. But at what cost, Marips?
We found some giraffes. I'm so excited. I don't know why, but we don't often see giraffes in this area. Now, obviously zebras, we know they prefer more open areas, but giraffes you normally find fairly evenly distributed almost anywhere. But I haven't always seen lots of giraffes at Djuma, so it's lovely to actually see a little journey together. This looks like the mother going behind the tree. Happy International Women's Day, girl. And then, of course, the young calf, which is staring in the opposite direction, which makes me think I know Chris is on that side somewhere. Maybe the lions with their tracks on top of his vehicle tracks are somewhere on that side. And then there is a male as well, but he's very well hidden in the shade of a very big marula tree. So all I can see of him is just the top of his horns, his ossicones. There you can see them. He's a very dark male from what I can see. And it certainly seems like everybody is mostly relaxed. The adults are feeding, but the calf itself is still staring. And in fact, what caught my attention was the calf and the mother were staring in that direction, and we weren't quite sure why. Tyler, interestingly enough, yes, giraffe necks have the exact same number of vertebrae that ours do. It's 7. And they have a very well-adapted atlas axis joint, so that is a little bit different in structure to ours. But it's the same number of bones, and they're just really, really big. They're very thick and, of course, much longer than ours. But it's still 7 bones, and then the atlas axis joint is just below the giraffe's ears. At the back of the head, there's a joint that connects basically your skull to your, your spine, your skull to your neck. And that joint for us allows us to turn our heads from left to right, also pick it up and down as though you're nodding, and do a bit of a motion of a circle. For a giraffe, it's very well adapted because they have to be able to stretch high up and put their neck and their head almost straight back to be able to stretch up to the tops of the trees. Very similar to what you'll see the big adults in particular doing. And so that's the only difference structurally between a giraffe's neck and ours, is that atlas axis joint just below the head. That looks quite different to ours, but the rest of it is pretty much the same, just a lot bigger. You can imagine. I'm ecstatic that we have actually found some giraffes. And as soon as we stopped and I saw that they were staring, I thought, all right, with all this strange lion activity going on, maybe the lions are somewhere on this side. But there were some kudus that walked over the road as well, so maybe the calf was quite taken by that. But considering that we have been quite lucky this morning and we've got our sunset safari this afternoon, I have a feeling it's going to be a good one with all the activity. And just a reminder that we do have a very special surprise with us this afternoon for our Women's Day Sunset Safari, so please join us for that. We're very excited to do something special for you. We're going to celebrate all of the female animals as much as we can, and of course we're going to be having fun as usual. Oh, our little calf has come out and started feeding. Hello. Finally given up on staring at the kudus. This is still quite a young calf. You can see very fluffy ossicones. When it was standing and its horns were up, the tufts were actually almost shaped like oxpeckers. It looked like there was an oxpecker on top of each horn. They're so long. But just a very, very fluffy one. So this one, I would say, isn't even 6 months old yet. Still very young, staying with Mom. And in fact, Mom has started feeding right next to us here. So she is feeding off of a buffalo thorn, which is very tough to eat on. Massive thorns, and I can tell you, I had one stick into my arm yesterday when I was walking to my room. And it's not fun, they just kind of cling onto you, they don't let go. But she's got a very well adapted tongue. Very thick, very slimy with saliva, purple in color, and she can just slide the leaves right over the thorns without getting them. Hello, oxpecker. She actually looks like she's got a little bit of giraffe's wart on her neck here and there. She's got a few little growths. Waikisha, it's been a wonderful morning. I'm so happy that you've enjoyed it. It's really been an elephant's kind of morning, and I'm so happy that we get to spend some time with the giraffes and some birds. Oh, hello, here comes the male. We've got everybody joining us here. This is fantastic. Oh, he's big. And gorgeous. He's got quite a bit of scarring on his neck. He's got a very dark body and very thick set on his shoulders. He's a big male. But thank you so much to everybody for joining us this morning. It's been an absolute pleasure from all of us having you on board. And we can't wait to share this afternoon with you. Please come and join us for our special surprise, and hopefully we'll be able to find some more of nature's magic that we can share with you. From a lovely pair of giraffes with their baby. Have a lovely day.